There's a truth they don't want you to discover, a truth so powerful that once revealed it forever destroys their ability to control you. Have you ever wondered why some people can leave you confused, anxious, and doubting your own reality, without you being able to explain exactly how? Why certain relationships drain you in a way that seems inexplicable, as if your vital energy is being sucked out by an invisible vampire? The answer lies in the rare manipulation tactics that sadistic narcissists use against their victims. Tactics so subtle, so well disguised, that most people never identify them. You suffer the effects, but you can't name the cause. You feel the pain, but you don't see the blade. Carl Jung, the pioneer of depth psychology, was one of the first to map these dark territories of the human psyche. He understood that some individuals project their empty shadow onto others, creating invisible psychological prisons. Jung knew there's a difference between those who manipulate out of emotional need and those who manipulate for the sadistic pleasure of causing suffering. Today you're going to learn about 3 rare tactics they guard as state secrets. 3 psychological weapons that silently destroy lives. But when you see the pattern, when you name the projected shadow, something changes forever in your ability to protect yourself. And what Jung discovered about these tactics completely changes how you'll view your own most intimate relationships. Pause for a moment, breathe deeply, and look within yourself right now. How many times have you felt like you were going crazy in a relationship, but everyone around you said you were overreacting? How many times have you been attacked by people who were once your allies, without understanding how they changed their minds about you overnight? How many times have you looked for something you were sure you'd put in a specific place, only to find it somewhere completely different, while someone close smiled and said, you were becoming forgetful? How many times have you experienced moments of genuine hope, felt that things were finally improving only to have that hope crushed cruelly and inexplicably? If these questions stirred something in you, if they made your heart race or your stomach clench, it's because you recognize the signs. You've been targeted by these rare tactics. Your unconscious knows, even if your conscious mind hasn't fully processed it yet. While you doubt your own perception, manipulation consumes you. While you accept confusion as normal, your true essence silently resists. While you question your sanity, someone delights in watching your deconstruction. But there's a fundamental difference between those who suffer these tactics by chance and those who recognize them for what they truly are. The difference lies in awareness, in the ability to name the poison, in the courage to see another's shadow projected onto you. Do you recognize this psychological territory? It's because you've been there. You've navigated these troubled waters. And today, you're going to understand exactly how these emotional predators operate, how they build their invisible prisons, and most importantly, how you can free yourself forever. To understand how these tactics work, you need to comprehend the psychological nature of those who use them. We're not talking about common narcissism, the kind that seeks admiration and validation. We're talking about something much darker and more calculated: sadistic narcissism. The sadistic narcissist is an architect of emotional suffering. Unlike the common narcissist, who manipulates to get something they want, the sadist manipulates for the pleasure of causing pain. They energetically feed on the suffering of others. It's like an emotional vampire who not only drains your energy, but delights in watching you wither. Jung identified this dynamic as an extreme form of shadow projection. The sadistic narcissist has such a deep inner void, a shadow so dense and unbearable, that the only way not to confront it is to project it completely onto another. But here's the sadistic differentiator. They don't just project their shadow, they force you to live it while they watch. Imagine a perverse artist who uses another's pain as paint and suffering as a canvas. Every tear, every moment of confusion, every instant of despair they manage to extract from you is a brushstroke in their sadistic artwork. They don't just want to control you, they want to see you suffer. And the most disturbing part, they want you to suffer without knowing why. This is the crucial difference few understand. The common manipulator reveals their intentions through their demands. They want something specific from you. The sadistic narcissist hides their true intentions because what they want is unconfessable. They want your suffering as entertainment. That's why the tactics they use are so subtle, so well disguised. They need to operate in the shadows because, if exposed to the light of consciousness, they would completely lose their destructive power. The first rare tactic they don't want you to know about is the recruitment of flying monkeys. This name comes from the classic The Wizard of Oz. where the wicked witch uses flying monkeys to do her dirty work while keeping her hands clean. The sadistic narcissist rarely attacks you directly, especially in public. That would be too obvious, too risky for their reputation. Instead, they become a master at turning other people against you. They transform your friends, family, and colleagues into weapons aimed at your emotional destruction. How do they do this? Through a subtle and systematic smear campaign. They plant seeds of doubt about you in seemingly innocent conversations. They share distorted versions of events, always painting themselves as the patient victim and you as the unstable aggressor. They might say things like, "I'm really worried about Jung lately. He's been so aggressive, so paranoid. Yesterday he accused me of completely absurd things. I think he might be having some kind of nervous breakdown." Do you see the sadistic genius? They plant the idea that you're unstable, preparing the ground so that when you try to defend yourself or explain what really happened, people already have the perception that you're losing it. Your attempts at clarification are interpreted as confirmation of your instability. The sadistic pleasure doesn't just come from isolating you. It comes from watching, from a safe distance, as you're attacked by people who once trusted you. They delight in seeing you have to defend yourself on multiple fronts while they remain the concerned and reasonable observer. The victim of flying monkeys lives a Kafkaesque nightmare. They are attacked from all sides by people they love, but they can't identify the real source of the attacks. It's like being hit by bullets from invisible shooters, while the one who pulled the trigger smiles compassionately and offers to help find the true culprits. The second tactic is even more insidious because it attacks your perception of reality, gradually and imperceptibly. It's what we can call environmental sabotage, a refined and cruel form of gaslighting. Forget the obvious gaslighting, the kind where someone brazenly denies something that just happened. The sadistic narcissist is much more sophisticated. They prefer a slow, systematic torture that undermines your confidence in your own perception. Environmental sabotage works through small alterations in your physical and psychological environment. They subtly move objects. Your keys, which you always leave in the same spot, appear somewhere else. Your glasses, which you were sure you'd put on the bedside table, are in the kitchen. Important documents disappear and reappear in improbable locations. When you question them, they respond with feigned concern. "Wow, you've been so forgetful lately. Are you perhaps too stressed? Maybe you should see a doctor." But the sabotage doesn't stop at the physical. They alter settings on your computer, change passwords you were sure you'd remember, program false reminders on your phone. They deny conversations you had just minutes ago. They insist you promised things you never agreed to do. The goal isn't just to confuse you. It's to make you doubt your own sanity. It's a death by 1,000 psychological cuts. Each small incident isn't significant on its own, but together they create a devastating pattern that erodes your confidence in your own perception of reality. The sadistic pleasure lies in watching you become increasingly anxious, confused, and frustrated. You start to question your memory, your attention, your mental capacity. You become dependent on them to confirm what's real, exactly where they want you to be. The third tactic is perhaps the cruelest of all, because it uses your own hope against you. It's sadistic intermittent reinforcement, a perverse version of the classic abuse cycle. You've probably already heard of intermittent reinforcement, that hot and cold pattern that addicts the victim to the relationship. But the sadistic version is much more calculated and devastating. It's not just about alternating between good and bad moments. It's about identifying exactly what you desire most and using that as a weapon against you. The sadistic narcissist studies you like a scientist studies a lab rat. They identify your deepest emotional needs, your most intimate dreams, your most secret vulnerabilities, and then they create a cycle where they offer exactly what you want most, only to have the pleasure of destroying that hope at the cruelest possible moment. For example, if you've always dreamed of family stability, they might promise a special trip, get everyone excited, make detailed plans, create expectations, and then, at the last minute, when you've already visualized how perfect it would be, when you've already relaxed into the hope, they cancel everything, blaming you for some small mistake you made. If what you value most is professional recognition, they might praise your work publicly, create expectations of promotion, make you believe you're finally being valued, and then, in the most important meeting, they subtly sabotage you or withdraw their support, leaving you exposed and humiliated. The pattern is always the same. Identify your most precious hope, carefully nurture it, and then destroy it at the moment of maximum vulnerability. The good phase isn't a return to the person you fell in love with. It's the calculated preparation for the next torture. The sadistic pleasure lies in giving hope, only to savor the pain of watching it being crushed. It's like giving water to someone dying of thirst, letting them drink a few drops to feel relief and then pouring the rest onto the sand right in front of them. Now that you know these three rare tactics, the most important moment has arrived, transforming this knowledge into real protection. Knowing how to identify the poison is just the first step. You need to develop psychological antibodies that will protect you forever. The practice that will change your life begins with a pattern journal. Over the next 2 weeks, you're going to document 3 specific things every day. First, moments when you felt confused about your own perception of reality. Note exactly what happened, who was present, what was said. Second, observe the people around you when you're going through difficulties. Who offers genuine support, and who seems strangely satisfied with your suffering? Who asks questions to understand, and who asks questions to gather information that can later be used against you? Third, map your cycles of hope and disappointment. When do you feel most hopeful? What happens immediately afterward? Is there a timing pattern to these disappointments? Do they always happen when you're most vulnerable or confident? But the most powerful part of this practice is the dialogue with your stolen essence. Before you sleep, ask your intuition, which part of me is being attacked? What aspect of my personality is someone trying to erase or control? And then listen. Your inner wisdom knows exactly where you're being manipulated. Remember, the power of these tactics lies in their anonymity. When you name the pattern, when you identify the manipulation, when you see another's shadow being projected onto you, the spell breaks. Awareness is the emotional predator's kryptonite. You are no longer the same person who started watching this video. Something fundamental has changed in your perception. You now carry knowledge that cannot be unlearned. You've seen behind the curtain. You know the magician's tricks. You've identified the strings that move the puppets. They didn't want you to know about these tactics because they knew that, once exposed to the light of your consciousness, they would forever lose their power to control you. You can no longer be manipulated by someone whose tactics you instantly recognize. You are now the unmasker of your own story. You are no longer the confused victim who questions their sanity. You are the conscious guardian of your journey. You are the living expression of your sovereign self, the one who sees through illusions and protects your true essence. From today, when someone tries to recruit flying monkeys against you, you will immediately recognize the smear campaign. When they try to sabotage your environment to confuse your perception, you will identify every move. When they try to use your hope as a weapon, you will protect your most precious dreams. Your task now is to apply this knowledge. Comment on which of these 3 tactics warned you the most, which one you recognized in your own experience. Like this video if you felt the courage to break these illusions forever. Subscribe to continue this journey of individuation and protection against emotional predators. And always remember, when you awaken to the patterns of manipulation, when you reclaim your capacity for discernment, when you protect your essence from another's projection, you are not just freeing yourself. You are becoming a force of protection for others who still suffer in the shadows. Unmask the patterns, protect your essence, reclaim your sovereignty. The liberation is just beginning.